Hey friends, it has been a year, huh? We are we're at the end. It's crazy. Time flies, but it also felt like it took forever. I don't know if you guys felt the same way, but that's how it felt for me. Um, so we're headed into the next year. I definitely want to talk about this past year. And I want to talk about the reading I did around this time last year, for 2021. So I want to go over that reading with you guys, and then I want to do a read for 2022. All right. This is, from what I'm seeing, it's going to be a bit of a come up year. Everything you've done this past year, 2021, year 5, there's been a lot of transformation, growth, renewal, releasing what doesn't serve you, bringing in what does. There's just been a lot of growth. Life is continuous growth, so it doesn't mean it's going to stop, but you will start to see the fruits of your labor. Okay, so let's talk about what last year's reading was. I'll tell you what the cards were that were pulled, and then from there, we'll walk into this year. We'll see what this next year is going to bring us. So right off the bat, last year's reading got real intense. The first card was the Tower reversed, right? And that card is about internal transformation. It can be about upheaval. It can feel destructive. You can feel like everything you thought you knew about yourself, life, the universe can feel as though it's all coming crashing down and you have to figure it all out again. So if that's how 2021 felt for you, you're right on track. All right. It's a time of significant transformation. Reverse, it's internal. There can be conflict, right? The Tower is about falling apart so that you can build back up. You can't build something different on the same foundation that you built what no longer serves you. So remember that in terms of this year, right? If it felt like that, then it's not a bad thing, you know? There's beauty in the destruction of, I guess destruction is a really aggressive word, but the falling apart of the things that no longer need to be there, right? If they're just there, they become stagnant, and stagnation is, you know, just as bad as moving too fast. A quote, I put some quotes in my notes from my video from last year's read because I was like, ha, you're gonna be rocked at some point this year. So if you were rocked last year, that's why the Tower came in strong. It was followed by the Seven of Pentacles reversed, right? There's a lot of reversals in last year's read, which is, it can be places of blockage. It can also be internal places that you're working on, whatever the subject of that card is, right? So the Seven of Pentacles reversed could be, for you, a lack of long-term vision, feeling like you couldn't see very far into this past year. Learning when to let go and just taking time to examine where you are, right? So being present, if you're struggling to be present this past year, there's a lesson in that with the Tower and the Seven of Pentacles together, right? Allowing yourself to accept exactly what is and be where you are as it's all happening, to know that it's setting you up to move into something so much greater. The third cup is the third card was the Knight of Cups in that reading. Upright. Now, a quote from that read is, emotions will be big this year. Allow yourself to feel, right? 3 cards into a 5-card read, and we already know that, wow, it makes sense that this past year was a dang roller coaster. Creativity, romance, imagination, right? And it's the central card of this read. It's the only one that's upright. And so it's saying to keep focus on those parts of yourself, right? So carry through all that drama, all that trauma, with that creativity, that newness, that life, that spark within you, right? That carries us through a lot. And allowing yourself to feel the emotions when they come up. This year, for me, like, this read was so spot on. There was so many emotions. There was so much change. There was a lot of upheaval. Getting into the rest, you'll see, like, it's very much 2021. The Four of Pentacles reversed was the next one, and that had to do with finances. It could have been overspending and greed, or self-protection, like hoarding resources because you're so afraid not to have what you need, and that makes sense. I mean, 2020, 2021 were very, very different years for us from anything we've ever experienced. There was questions of abundance and where it was going to come from. There's all, like ability to even find a place to provide abundance, a lot of change around abundance and finances. So it's really important to, when you're looking at abundance, to make sure, especially if you're a creative, that you're creating from desire and not obligation, right? You create more authentically as a flow than being like, I have to create all this stuff because I have to make money, because this is, especially those of us who are artists, content creators, if that's your living, like there is this feeling behind you of, I gotta create more, I gotta do it, I gotta get it out there, because if I don't create and I don't put it out there, then I'm not gonna make any money and I'm not gonna have what I need, right? And so it's taking a breath and allowing the universe to provide exactly what you need for you when you need it. I was talking to my partner this morning about this past year, just, getting ready to come shoot this video and just processing through and thinking. And I was like, there was a period this past summer, a lot of my income came from artwork. I created a lot of art and then sold it at some festivals, and I could have had a mindset of, I'm not making enough, but I always came away from each event with exactly what I needed for the next set of bills, or whatever, like I needed an item, I needed a supply, whatever it may have been, I always came away with exactly what I needed. And so that Four of Pentacles reversed is just saying, like, reevaluate what's important, and your relationship with money, and make sure that that's not your only drive, right? It's good to seek abundance and it's good to create, and it's fine to get abundance from that. But what are your reasons for doing things the way you're doing them, right? Just reevaluate and make sure, like, your intentions are pure for yourself, your intentions are pure for what you're putting out, and you're not just trying to run a rat race, because that won't get you anywhere. What are you running towards? There's time. Nine of Pentacles reversed was next. And that is self-worth. It's our investments in work. It's where we hustle. It's checking to make sure, it goes back to what I just said. Make sure, are you hustling too fast or too much? Are you pushing too far, too much, that you're burning yourself out, and so you're not getting what you want to achieve because you're burnt out and you don't have the emotional, mental, energetic resources, let alone physical resources, to put towards that, right? It was a Tower year, so things went crazy, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Year number 5, 2021, 2215, right? The years are from 1 to 9. They run in a cycle, and you just take the number from the year you're in, and simplify it down to the smallest 1 to 9 number. So 5 is 2021. We're moving into year 6. Fives are conflict, poverty, struggle. It's a spiritual awakening. A lot of things coming to the surface. This was a karmic year, karmic storm of a year. And karma is an energetic return of what you put out, right? This isn't a place to beat yourself up. This isn't a place to be like, wow, I must have done something shitty because I'm getting all this shit storm. It doesn't, if things are perceived shitty or perceived chaotic, it doesn't mean you did something bad. Bad and good are degrees that we put on things. Things just are, right? And so this comes back to that reevaluation, and just, this is a great time to reevaluate the whole year and take this moment, pause right now if you need to, go back through those cards again and just kind of reevaluate and see, like, what happened this year? Where could that have come from? Again, like, the karmic return doesn't mean you did something good or bad or indifferent. It just means something happened and this is an energetic return. So take that and reevaluate and ensure that moving forward, you're putting out energy that serves you to create or break down something else, right? It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be like gentle and soft. Like, there is boundaries in that softness and in that flow, right? So, like, whatever that looks like for you. Know that there's a balance of the energy, and just because you've been a little more rigid with things, it doesn't mean that that was a bad thing. Maybe that's serving you, actually. Like, you're too loose in places and you need to be like, wait, I need to create this space for me, and I need, like, moving in, you know, maybe moving into the next year, there's something you need to create for yourself, energetically. I don't know what that means. If that means something to you, that just came through. It's very vague, but take that. We are going into 2022. 5 is being left behind for now until the next cycle, where there's more to face and more to fight. Not in an aggressive way, but fight through, work through that conflict. It'll come around again. Everything's cyclical, right? But 6 is unconditional love. It's balance, it's harmony, it's home and family, finding solutions, keeping balance between your material goals and your spiritual inner self. This is a space where you take responsibility for yourself, you be honest and fair in all your dealings, and trust that all will be provided for you as you take care of yourself and serve yourself and others, right? So as you do what you're called to do, you will be provided for. And so this is a year of balance. It's a year of harmony. It's a year of love. Check out the next video. Will be all about the number 6. We're going to talk about the number 6 cards from the deck and what they mean and how they may pertain to this year coming up. But for now, we're just going to do a general energy reading for the year. We looked at last year. Let's see what we've got. I'm going to do a little bit bigger reading this year. Last year was my first year doing a yearly read, and it's something that obviously we were slow to get started, but it's going to be a thing. Hopefully you'll all be around for the next year 5, and we'll see what happens. We'll probably come right back to this year. Anyway, I digress. Let's see what we got. A lot of things have been seeming very paradoxical lately. I'm sure you felt that too. Not only could that have to do with what this past year has been about, but also we're coming into 2, you know, a year with 2, a lot of 2s in it, 2, 2, 2. And that can prove to be very paradoxical in itself. It's good, guys. It's good. I don't know about you guys, but I always get really excited as I pull the cards, start to see, and I know it's, you can't, I'm going to get something set up at some point where you can see me and the cards at the same time. But, so I'm pulling from 2 different decks. I like to do that to get well-rounded, you know, you might see the same card pop up twice, and that's an emphasis on that specific part of the message. Ooh. Just half the deck. I'm not going with it. All right. So right off the bat, there are mostly pentacles in the first line, with a cup, and then the second line is a mix. We've got swords, cups, pentacles, and a major arcana card. So we'll just start. I'm not surprised to see the 5 of Pentacles as the first card. 5, right? We're coming out of year 5. All of these things that we've gone through, all of these things that have come up for us, they're not just going to go away at midnight on the 31st, right? We're going to have to carry those lessons over, carry that energy over, and transmute it in a way that serves us. 5 of Pentacles is about feeling that feeling of poverty, right? You may not have what you need. This is to show you to make sure that you pay attention to where the resources are, right? There's some, a couple unhoused people here outside, and it's showing that there's the light of the church right there. And if they could see that the lights are on, then that's a space where they could go get warmth and get resources. All they have to do is ask, right? So don't stay out in the cold if there's something that can help you, someone, something, some place. Don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. This is a very big indication that this year is going to be different, right? This is the year that we don't just struggle through everything. We get help. And maybe it's just from ourselves, from our higher selves, from within. But know that even if you feel impoverished with money, there are spaces around where you can find that community, and that will bring you into that abundance, right? If you find people that boost you up, if you find your hype people, from there, it's easier to move into success, right? Because we feel worthy. We feel motivated. We feel like we've got the power of support behind us. So find that support and know that if you feel impoverished or you feel lacking right now, that's an okay period to be in. You're moving through that, right? In and through. I say that a lot. I will never stop saying it. And then that balance comes into place. And maybe this has to do with finances. Maybe it's just tangible things. Maybe it's a balance between your spirit and the tangible things. Two of Pentacles specifically is about like home-work balance. Make sure that you're not working too much. Are you a workaholic? Slow down. Why are you a workaholic? What are you running from? What are you truly working for? What's happening, right? It's okay to work hard, but make sure your intentions are there. How much time are you putting into those relationships? Maybe it's family, maybe it's family, friends who are family, the blood of the covenant, thicker than the water of the womb sometimes. So sometimes the family you choose is the family you have. And it can be that too. Like whatever relationships that are important to you that are around you, make sure that you're putting time and energy into those as well, because it's important. Again, it goes back to that support and seeing the help where it is. Like sometimes that's your friends and family if you're feeling imbalanced. Now, Two of Pentacles upright is saying that you're feeling pretty balanced. You could just be going because you feel balanced and you're afraid if you stop, everything will come crumbling down and you're juggling, right? But overall, it's not necessarily saying that you're struggling with anything. It's saying that like you're finding that balance, right? 222, 2022, coming into that balance. You're finding it. And it's balance between abundance and knowing you have what you need. That too, like it's okay to be abundant, it's okay to have resources, it's okay to have money. The intention behind that is what's important, right? Just like anything, you're not supposed to hold on to energy. When we have thoughts come through, we don't hold them in our heart. We're supposed to release them so they don't stay there and get stagnant. The same with money, right? If we have enough resources to come through, then we disperse it, right? We take care of ourselves and those around us. And that doesn't mean you enable anyone around you. That means that we're spreading the resources out. Everyone deserves abundance. And so like know that it's okay to have abundance if your intentions are in the right space, right? No energy should be hoarded. Interesting that the 2 card comes out between a 5 and a 6, right? The 6 of Cups. Now, the 6 of Cups, it's been coming up a lot lately in reads that I've been doing. And this is about reminiscing, if you will. It can be being stuck in the past because you don't want to face the present or what's coming. It can be nostalgia for a time when you didn't have to be a responsible adult because someone took care of you, someone was there to help you, you were fed, you were clothed. You know, if you didn't have a positive childhood and you didn't have all of your needs met, or you know, there was neglect there, then this is could be longing for something like that, or just tapping into that childlike wonder. It doesn't matter what your childhood was like, you can tap into that pure childlike essence and allow that to drive the wonder, drive the creativity, right? 6, we were just talking about that. It's that unconditional love, it's the balance between materials and spiritual self. And you think about kids, like kids are so connected to the spiritual world. That's why kids tend to see entities more than adults. They're just, it's there, it must be true, it must be real, right? Like it's not a ghost, it's grandma. So far it's just like if you're feeling like you're lacking, remember the balance you do have. Find the areas you have balance, see where you can find more balance, and tap into that love, that childlike wonder, that release of worry and stress, as much as you can, because that is no good for us energetically. And keep moving forward. Eight of Pentacles, it's the apprentice, essentially. Like, he's just continuing to work. He's happy about it. He's working towards a goal. He's making his pentacles. It's just continuous movement towards a goal, and knowing that as long as you're actively working towards something, you can achieve it. And it might not look like what you want it to look like right away. But know that hard work with that balance and the emotional connection will get you where you want to go, right? Success comes from multifaceted. It's multifaceted. Success comes from our emotions. It comes from our thoughts. It comes from how we actively put energy into something, right? So the Three of Swords is next. So we have abundance, and we have balance, and we have the material balance there, essentially. And then the Six of Cups, I mean, sixes that's balanced, and it's that emotional facet. Now the Three of Swords reversed is telling you that you may be feeling some pain, and sometimes releasing things and moving into a new chapter can feel painful, but this is self-inflicted. This is reversed. So it's saying, what are you doing to break your own heart? What are you doing to hold yourself back? Why are you struggling so much to let go of that thing that's not serving you, that thing, that person, that situation? If it's causing heartbreak, take a second and look at it. Sometimes releasing and letting go of something in a sense that's actually better for you can feel very painful, because letting go of control, letting go of knowing what's happening, letting go of the familiar can be very painful and scary, because you don't always know what's there. But if you release that, then you're no longer tied up by your emotions. You're no longer hurting yourself. Sometimes a perspective shift is necessary, right? The Hangman, reverse. We've got a lot of reversals in this second line. There's a good amount of balance between the outside and inside worlds here. And this is about a shift in perspective, right? The Hanged Man, he's hanging upside down. And so it's showing that he's viewing the world differently. Now, maybe you're blocking yourself from seeing things in a different perspective. If you look at things in a different perspective, this may make more sense. You may figure out, okay, that's where I'm holding myself back, or that's why that hurts that way, or that's why I'm struggling to find balance, or I'm feeling lack, right? So change your perspective on abundance, on lack, on balance, perhaps, and then readjust from there. But this is about changing your perspective, and this is alluding to the fact that it's hard to change perspective right now, especially after the past couple years of consistent shitstorm, right? That's kind of what it's felt like. But know that this is just saying, hey, switch up your perspective a little, see how that shifts things, right? If everything's so bad and everything's happening to me and everything's happening this way and this is hurting me and da da da, take a breath, take a second and look at it and see, okay, this is happening and I don't like it and it hurts, but how's it helping me? And if it's not helping you, then again, that perspective will help you adjust. If you can change it and it's bothering you, do something about it. If you can't change it and it's bothering you, you need to shift your perspective to see why, right? It's better not to let something bother you that you can't do anything about than to continuously be frustrated by something that you can't do anything about. 10 of Cups reversed. Perhaps not knowing how to break through that feeling of poverty and impoverishedness. Maybe that's causing you not to see the abundance you have. You're feeling a little bit emotionally disconnected. Well, this is a cup of overflowing emotional balance, right? And so that's what we're achieving. And through a perspective shift and through being able to release that pain that we're inflicting on ourselves, we come face to face with this joy, this emotional abundance of gratitude, of positivity, of these things that it feels grounded, right? And it doesn't mean you have to be happy all the time, right? Joy is a state of being. Happiness is an emotion. You can have joy and be upset. So know that. Remember that bit, right? You can be a joyful being and be processing through something. You don't have to be happy all the time. That's a little skewed. Again, it goes to that balance, right? Like you have to feel those emotions and process through them. And that, the 10 of Cups reversed is that it's distraughtness, it's emotional imbalance, it's feeling very disconnected and like you don't have maybe that love and that emotional support there. Again, don't be afraid to look in the window. It's okay to see the support you do have and flip those cups upside down. And that's emphasized, like continue to work towards your goals to find that balance. You got the 8 of Pentacles twice, 2 different decks. Remember what I said about sometimes you get the same card and it's that emphasis? There it is. This is hard work. It's not driving yourself into the ground. It's not going, and having no break or no rest or no area to like recoup and readjust, right? It's just saying continue to work hard. Sometimes as you're working hard, you'll feel like things aren't going the way they need to go, or I'm putting in so much work and there's no payoff. Listen to your intuition, find that balance, connect to your inner child, change your perspective, evaluate how you're holding yourself back in areas where you can have gratitude and joy and that emotional well-being, even if you're navigating and feeling very discouraged and distraught. And know that like work towards what you're working towards and reevaluate along the way. And if you keep reaching blockages, see why, and see what's happening, and know that to build something, it can take time. It can take a lot of time. Another thing my partner and I were talking about is like from conception of what I wanted to do, as a business, as a service, to now has only been about 3.5, 4 years. And that's not a lot of time. And that's just conception of the idea. That's not necessarily boots on the ground working towards that. It can take some years, depending on what it is. It could take a couple weeks, a couple months, could take years. Don't be afraid to continue to go and continue to look at the progress you've made along the way up to this point, right? We have more balance, which is so important to this year. Really, it's about balance. So we have balance, we have releasing what no longer serves us. All those lessons we learned from this past year we're taking with us, but we're not taking the attitude with us that was there. We're changing it. We're changing our perspective to see everything for what it is, to see the lessons, to connect more deeply with ourselves, and to continue pushing forward in the areas that we know we're called to push forward in. All right. Continued year of healing, integration, hope you're not surprised to hear that again, but it's very much so. Like I said, you can't just stop at the end of the year and be like, okay, last year's over, now what, on to the next act, kind of, but it all carries through, right? I'm gonna pull a couple animals. I'm gonna pull some inner wisdom cards, and then we're gonna go and we're gonna have a great year, and we're gonna reconnect, and we're gonna reevaluate along the way, and it's gonna be great. Oh, all the way down there. Cards really like to make a point. All right, so we got 3 of those. So here we go. We got a big message. A more big message. The fox, right? The fox is clever. The fox is swift, sneaky, can be sly, but like embody that curiosity of the fox, right? Swift and smart. Solutions to problems are found easily. Listen to your instincts. You have resources, and be open to romance. The interesting thing is that 6 in The tarot deck is the Lovers, and that is about romance. It's about unconditional love and connection. We'll get more into that in the next video, but the Fox is the animal spirit to take with you this year, this month, however whatever, whatever feels right to you, however this fits in. Remember the Fox. Clever, smart, swift, solutions. Because we've got a lot of balance. We've got some heartache. We've got some perspective shift. We've got some emotional imbalance. And so, like, solutions. Have solutions. You hold the tools within you that you need to navigate what you have, right? Sometimes we need help unlocking that or seeing exactly what those tools are. But when it really comes down to it, you're the master of your reality and this dance. Interesting too. Dance, right? Movement. There's the dance of life. There's the dance of nature. This is cool. It's like a mermaid and a fish dancing together. But everything has a flow. Follow that flow. Literally move your body. It's good for you. Movement, it releases stagnant energy. It brings in energy that you need. It's a space to find balance, to release feelings of self-consciousness. Go dance in front of people, dance by yourself, it doesn't matter. Move your body. Release and accept, right? Accept exactly where you are. It doesn't mean it's serving you right now, and it doesn't mean you need to stay there. It just means in order to change something, if it needs to be changed, you have to accept how things are right now. Release whatever cannot be changed and change what can. Transform it, right? Accept what is, where it is. Release that to the universe, to your higher self, to God. However you perceive that energy, release it and find that integration, integrate it in. And what that means is taking that energy, and instead of it being there and something you hold on to, you take it, transmute it into something different, integrate it in. It's part of your journey, but it doesn't have to affect you. And so it's that accepting, releasing, dancing through, integrating in all these lessons, all these energies, all these feelings. Take that, and that's where you find that flow, right? You have that balance. It's overall a very good read. It's a very good year. I have a feeling that this is a year where things are going to shift in another direction, in a more positive feeling direction. Know that doesn't mean you're not going to have those feelings sometimes come up, those negative feelings, right? Heartache, depression, anxiety, fear, feelings of lack. Those come up to be integrated, right? That integration, and to be accepted. And so allow yourself to feel what's there and see what is and release it. In order for an energy to be released that's been locked inside, held captive essentially within your heart, you're going to experience the same energy as when it was locked away. So if it was locked away in pain, you'll feel pain when it comes back up. But release that, recognize and release. So it's looking like it's going to be a great year. That tower from last year cleared out a lot, and this is the year of building now, right? The tower came down. What no longer serves us has been destroyed. And this is that year of building. So don't forget that. Remember, 6, unconditional love, balance, harmony, home and family, finding solutions, honesty, fairness, trust, and just care for yourself. Check in on those around you. Make sure you're pouring into yourself. Happy 2022. We made it. If you liked this reading, check out more on my channel. Go ahead and subscribe so that you can get updates every full moon, every new moon, every year, every zodiac transit. Coming into this next year, we're ramping back up to get back on the train. I've been shifting things and figuring out what works, so I'm excited to come back. I'm feeling good about it. It's that building year, right? We had to release and set things aside for integration, and now we're building. So keep on keeping on. I love you guys. I'm glad you're here, and I'll see you on the next now moment.